Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm super excited to share with you the journey behind one of my recent illustrations. I learned a lot of useful things while creating this illustration, and hopefully you'll take something useful from this video, which is documenting a bit of my process. So, planning ahead. Here's something I didn't realize before, but now it seems so obvious. You have to plan ahead before you create your illustration. For the first few years of my art career, I was working solely as a portrait artist, which meant I was mainly working from photo references. But illustration is different. You need to come up with these ideas yourself. So at first I was just drawing whatever I felt like on a whim, and as a result, my illustrations always seemed lackluster. But as I looked into tutorials and tips from illustrators, I've learned that good illustrations don't just happen, they're planned. There's this course that I highly recommend by Illustrata on Domestika. It's called Monetize Your Illustrations by Transforming Them into Products. There they outline the process of coming up with an idea for your illustration. The trick is to list several different subjects, actions, and moods, and then combine the one that feels right for the illustration you want to make. This really helped me with artist block, and it helped me come up with ideas. So the idea for this illustration came from my husband, who loves to fish, and he wanted me to design a t-shirt of a bear catching salmon with an intimidated fisherman. So since I knew the target audience and the niche, clothing that would appeal to fishermen, I did some research into the kind of style that would work for this illustration. And although I like drawing things in more of a cute kind of a style, I knew that would work for this audience. So instead, I opted for a more realistic, natural look without sacrificing my own style completely. So I documented the process, so here's a time lapse showing how those initial drafts evolved. Another thing I wanted to keep in mind was versatility. I wanted this illustration to shine whether it's on a puzzle, a t-shirt, or a greeting card. And I wanted the design to look good on light or dark backgrounds, so I created different versions, and each of them were tailored for specific products. Sometimes this involves changing the color palette to look good on specific background colors, but in this case, since it was a detailed painting, I thought I didn't really need to go that far. Then I showed it to my husband, and he said, "Oh, it looks really great, but for a poster or a puzzle. But it's too detailed for a t-shirt, so you might want to focus on 2 or 3 different colors maybe, and make it look more like a t-shirt product." So, of course, he was right. So I decided to go back to the drawing board and do more of a pen and ink style with some halftone shaded colors. So I created this painting in Procreate, and then I did the finishing touches in Photoshop. So you can probably see from the time lapse that I tried a few different coloring methods before I settled on the final version. That's another thing that I've been learning. You don't have to just settle with your first draft. It's fine to keep chipping away at a piece until it looks good to you. And sometimes I get caught up in watching professional artists on YouTube or TikTok who can just churn out an amazing piece in a few minutes, but I'm not there yet, and that's okay. It's okay to take your time and to just work on it. So this piece took me about 7 hours total, but it was over the course of a few weeks. Okay, and references are so important. Just because I didn't use like one single photograph as a reference doesn't mean that I didn't use any references at all. In fact, I used a lot of them. I put together a reference board using the free software PureRef. Did you know that you can drag images from Google Images or Pinterest right onto your PureRef board? It makes it super simple to have everything you need all in one place. And these references were essential to making this piece look realistic. Another thing I learned is that fancy brushes are not worth it for me. I experimented with using the hairbrush with the bear's fur, but it looked awful. And I painted over it with a round brush, and then I used a cloud brush for the clouds, and again, it just didn't work. I painted over it with a round brush. And same thing with the trees. I tried to use like a tree branch brush, and it didn't work. The only place where I ended up using a specialized brush was with the foamy water in the foreground. Most of the time though, it just looked better when I took my time and I did it myself instead of relying on custom brushes. So that's all my tips for the story behind this illustration. It started as a fun idea and it turned into an illustration that I'm really proud of. I just want to say too, remember that every artist has their own unique process. So what works for me might not be what works for you, and I, of course, might improve and change my mind on a few of these things in the future. But what's important is finding what works for you, and of course, having fun along the way. So I'm still very new to making videos, so if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, and I would really appreciate it if you share your thoughts with me in the comments too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please stay creative, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.